Good evening, little ones. We've gathered around the fire this evening so I can share with you that you might hear the stories I was told when I was just a young shepherd of your age. And before that, my father was told these stories, and his father. These are the stories that have been shared back even to the days and nights when David, the glorious, famous king of Israel, roamed these very hills outside of our hometown of Bethlehem. He kept Jesse's sheep, much as we care for the sheep of our community. Can you imagine that? That he lived in this very place and watched over the sheep from a young age, just like all of you. The story I want to tell you is the story of our people. It's the story of our long wait and our profound hope. We have been waiting hundreds and hundreds of years for our God, Yahweh, the one true God of the universe, to come again to our rescue. You remember this? You know the story. He did it when our people were trapped in Egypt, in slavery. He came and he rescued them. And he promised to come again to our rescue. The God who brought the people out of slavery to come to our rescue from the oppression of our enemies. I have to ask you, have you ever waited for something that you really, really wanted to come? Maybe it was the celebration of your birthday or some other special event. When we're waiting like this, sometimes it can seem like it's taking forever to get there. This is what waiting has been like for me and for my father and grandfather and back generation after generation. We have waited for God to intervene. We've told generation after generation, and now I'm sharing it with you, the story of God's promise to come. The prophet Isaiah promises, "Arise and shine, for your glory, your light has come. The glory of the Lord rises upon you. See the darkness over the earth? Thick darkness over all the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you. His glory hovers over you. And the nations will come to your light, and the kings to the brightness of your dawn." This is what we desire to come. This is the light that we want to see. This is the hope that we want to have happen. That the desires of all the nations to come together. We want the glory of God to arise and shine on us. But why are we waiting? Well, the story begins with our calling. We are created to be caretakers of the world. We are to care for this precious gift and all that is involved in it. Again, let me ask you a question. You ever have something special that you were supposed to take good care of? As shepherds, we understand this. We need to be good caretakers. We are entrusted with the sheep of the whole community. We must feed them and protect them from danger, lead them to good and safe places. If we fail the sheep, if we fail to keep the charge that we are given, the sheep will be harmed, and actually all of us will be harmed. And that's what happened ages ago. Adam and Eve, the first caretakers, failed their task, and sin entered the world. Things became messed up. Evil occurred. Terrible things happened, but God in grace stepped in. From the very beginning, He promised to repair things. He promised to restore things to their original design. To accomplish this, He chose our father Abraham and his descendants. He chose us. They were to help in the restoration project. He guided Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He sent Joseph to Egypt for the very purpose of protecting the people so they could be ready to do the work. But again, our fathers failed to be obedient. They failed in their task. And so we wait for God to intervene again. Waiting is hard. I ask you if you had to wait for something. Have you ever waited and it seemed like it would never come? it would always keep being further away. Maybe it's like that when you're watching the sheep at night and it doesn't seem like the dawn is ever going to come, that the light is ever going to pop up again, that the sun will ever rise again. We are in this place, waiting and waiting until the promises come true. And the promises are beautiful. Isaiah says, "Here is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom is my delight. I will put my spirit upon him, and he will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout or cry out. He will not raise his voice in the street. A bruised reed he will not break. A smoldering wick he will not put out. In faithfulness he will bring forth justice in the nations. He will not falter or be discouraged until justice is established on the earth. I, the Lord, call him in righteousness. I will take hold of his hand. I will keep him, and I will make him a covenant for the people and a light for the Gentiles." These are the promises of this one who will come. This one who will be the manifestation of the light, the Messiah, the anointed one, is coming, and he will bring justice to all of us. He will be part of the restoration project. And it won't just be that he brings justice, but a transformation of the world. Isaiah says, the wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard also with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear, and their young will lie down together. A lion will eat hay like oxen. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the little child near the viper's pit. And they will neither harm nor destroy in all my holy mountain, and the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. What a glorious day when there will be peace, when there will be shalom over all of the earth. That's what we long for. That's what we wait for. And again, there's one that's anointed. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, for he's anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to free those who are captive, to release those in darkness of the prisons, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, the day of vengeance of our God. He will comfort those who mourn. He will provide for those in Zion who grieve. A crown of beauty instead of ashes. The oil of joy rather than that of mourning. Garments of praise rather than despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord, for the display of his splendor. That's what God promises to do. That's what's coming. And the promises keep coming in the book of Isaiah and other places. The joy and the hope is built on the fact that God is going to intervene, that he's going to send his servant to do that. And what is incredible is that in all these promises, one of the truths is the most astounding of the promises, the one which our heart is longing for, that this change will occur when God, our God, returns in a real and tangible way. This is what we're waiting for. We desire God to return to us. In the past, our fathers tell us that God was with them. He was with them when the people came out of Egypt. His presence was represented by the cloud and the pillar of fire. Then when the tabernacle and the temple came, God appeared in the Shekinah glory. But the presence was taken away, and we have been waiting 500 years since the prophet described the glory leaving the temple. Wouldn't it be wonderful if this was happening right now, that God was coming back? We long for it. We want it. It hasn't come yet. But the promises are clear. One of the other prophets, the last one to write, Malachi, said, "See, I will send my messenger ahead of you who will prepare the way. And then suddenly, the Lord you are seeking will come to his temple." That's what we long for the coming of our God to us. We are waiting for his advent. The next time we get together, though, we'll talk about the need to have eyes to see and ears to hear the truth.